swallowed star 419 violent undercurren. When the internal selection of the Gonwu universe had just ended, in the distant universe country far from the Gonwu universe country, the barbaric universe country's internal selection was still ongoing. The barbaric universe country got its name for this one reason. The reason being that there were two very fearsome human races there, the Manka and the Huangshan races. These two were bloodlines that ranked in the top 10 of the humans of the universe. Even without any training, when they reached maturity, they would easily become powerful domain lords. To be able to have a bloodline that reached an evolution of such a stage, the ancestors of the two races naturally had many undying. Although the population of these two races was extremely small, the core of the entire barbaric universe country had a very powerful imperial family. There was once a sector lord who snatched away an infant of the Manka race. As soon as he was discovered, the Manka planet sent out a group of undying to destroy the entire organization that the sector lord was in. Even the two undyings in that organization were killed. As for that sector lord that actually dared to snatch that infant, he was tortured for millions of years until his lifespan reached its end and died tragically. Anyone who dares to touch the infants of the Manka race will die a horrible death. Anyone who dares touch the infants of the Huangshan race will also be killed mercilessly. The Manka and Huangshan people regarded a death in battle as the greatest honor. However, should anyone ever snatch their infants and use their bloods, they would have in turn offended the entire race. The Manka planet, as the home of the Manka people, was covered in an extremely vast god country. Within Manka planet itself was an oval-shaped castle. The guards at the entrance were all universe level. Congratulations, Your Majesty, congratulations. The two sector lords smiled as they looked at a youth casually sitting at a dining table and eating a feast. This Manka youth had the traditionally good looks of the Manka people, dressed in a silver armor, black hair, eating heartily, muttering, "What's there to congratulate about? It's just a slot in the name list, utterly simple." The two sector lords exchanged glances and laughed. "Your Majesty." The chubbier of the two sector lords smiled and said, "The Gonwu universe country's internal selection had already ended." Gonwu universe country. The Manka youth looked up, creasing his eyebrows. "From what I heard, my royal father said that the country leader of the Gonwu universe country is very powerful. However, in the past 100 genius competitions, they haven't produced anyone worthy at all. There's one in this competition that you have to pay attention to," the fat sector lord said respectfully. "Ah, speak." The Manka youth lowered his head and quickly finished the food on the dining table. The two sector lords exchanged glances and laughed. This royal prince had the good qualities of the Manka people's tradition, which was that he loved to eat. He loved to battle. He was loud and boorish. However, even though the Manka people were loud and boorish, their mental capacity was extremely high. Hence, they were very intelligent. And only because of that they were able to work together with the Huangshan race and govern over the barbaric universe country. "Your Majesty." The fat sector lord smiled. "The Gonwu universe country has produced an absolute genius, called Rongjun. His achievements in the ground and space law origins are high. He's already reached a point where he can leave a mirror image of himself." "Mirror image?" The Manka youth shook his head violently. "Right." The two sector lords nodded simultaneously. "That's troublesome." The Manka youth slapped the table and stood up, leaving a mirror image in space. "That's not due to some simple explosion in instantaneous speed. And he even has made progress in the ground origin laws? With the two combined, his attack must be incredibly fierce and powerful, to the point that it would be almost unblockable. Yes. The two sector lords nodded. This Manka youth was the current Manka planet's most exceptional genius of this generation. From young, he had received the guidance of many of the Undying. Hence his vision and knowledge was extremely high. Having heard a little of the information, he was able to already imagine the battle styles and strength of his opponents. Of course, even though he was the most exceptional genius, in truth, the number of star-level youths on Manka planet wasn't even 1,000. Your Majesty, according to the information we've gathered and along with our deductions, this youth called Rongjun has the power to make it into the universe's top 10. Also, from the information, we are able to conclude that he's been hiding his true power all this while. Even during that last battle he may not have used his full strength. The Fat Sector Lord continued, he even said his goal was to become the universe's number 1. Top 10? Number 1? The Manka youth stared hard. How come they are all so arrogant? Although, their powers are not bad either. There are too many universe countries. However, this group of arrogant punks, they'll all get wiped out by me. The number 1 position is mine. The two sector lords smiled. The battle spirit of this Majesty was definitely sufficient, but this was after all a pinnacle fight between the best of the entire human race. There were geniuses who came with superior bloodlines, while those with weaker bloodlines usually had very large populations. Picking one out of the tens of billions to even trillions, normally they would be even stronger than those picked out of hundreds. Your Majesty, in the Gonwu universe, besides Rongjun, there's another called Luo Feng. The Fat Sector Lord said. Another one? The Manka youth stared. No, the Fat Sector Lord shook his head. His strength is much weaker than Rongjun's. However, the thing we have to take note of was that compared to 3 years ago, his rate of improvement is incredible. I guess he definitely has the chance to make it into the top 1,000. He is also extremely calm during battle. He may even kill those stronger than himself. Hence, Your Majesty has to take note of him and not get careless. I say, my fat uncle. The Manka youth was restless. For someone who has the chance to make it into the top 1,000? Don't talk to me about these sort of people. They are of no challenge or threat to me at all. The top 1,000 of the entire universe has no difficulty for me at all. However, from that top 1,000, the treatment for their ranks are different. My aim is to take one step at a time to reach heaven, immediately making it into the upper echelon chore of the virtual universe company's primal secret area. Hence I asked you to take note of those that are able to make it to the top 10. As for that person called Luo Feng, don't bother, I'll settle him in one move. The two sector lords exchanged glances and smiled. Then we'll await the day Your Majesty enters the primal secret area. Within the vast universe, the human race was one of the top pinnacle of races. They took up a great amount of the universe itself. And at this time, the internal selections for the geniuses of the 1008 universe countries, many of which were still going on. There were many that had ended too. The absolute geniuses that were ranked first or second, or any that had any decent ability or stood out as a threat, were all being researched on by the many universe countries. Gonwu universe country, in a vast space. A giant stood within that space and the space around him was completely warped. It was impossible to even make out his appearance in that space. Wu, I made you stay in the Gonwu secret area to nurture the younger generation. From the entire universe country, you picked out the top 100 million geniuses and trained them in the best place, with the best facilities. However, Wu's universe country's most exceptional were separately Rongjun and Luo Feng. And both are not from the Wu Gonwu secret area at all. The voice was booming, the surrounding space almost seemed like it was about crumble. The three Undying dressed in simply white robes all bowed, cold sweat beading profusely from their foreheads. Do you all still have any use? The thick booming voice was like a huge axe cutting into the souls of these three Undying, causing them to go completely pale, kneeling down simultaneously. To be able to be even stronger than those from the Gonwu secret area means that they are both exceptional. Especially that Rongjun, he has the strength to make it to the top 10 of the entire universe. That's a good thing too. I hope he can enter the primal secret area. For the Wu Gonwu universe country, that would be extremely beneficial to us in the future. The thick booming voice's rage within was obviously lesser than before. Nurturing these younger generations has wasted a lot of your time. The three of you should go train properly first and raise your own strengths. As for training the younger generation, Wu will arrange for others to take over. The thick booming voice seemed to have no obstruction at all in this space, immediately reaching the ears and souls of the three Undyings. Yes, country leader. The three replied simultaneously. Go on. Only at this time did the three Undyings let out a sigh of relief and left respectfully. The top 1,000 of the Gonwu universe country had 1.5 years of time to rest. Naturally, no one actually dared to relax at all. Within this 1.5 years, whether it was Rongjun or Luo Feng, or even the others suppressed by these two, and also the geniuses nurtured by the imperial family of the Gonwu universe country, they were all training extremely hard. Rongjun wanted to become the strongest. Luo Feng was even more unwilling to go to battle and lose. As for the geniuses of the Gonwu universe country imperial family, they were actually beaten by both Luo Feng and Rongjun, who didn't have as good facilities to train in. Naturally, they were even more unhappy. They were all working hard. Lost. Luo Feng, you lost again. I still lost. All right, your 3 matches with Rongjun today will end here. In the desert of the slaughterhouse, the little devil Babata waved his hand and immediately the savage Rongjun who was standing beside vanished. This was the Rongjun simulated by the slaughterhouse. As for his power, knowledge and experience, these were all based on reality. Luo Feng stood in the desert, creasing his eyebrows. I still lost. Luo Feng, don't be discouraged. Compared to Rongjun, the main thing is that your origin law comprehension difference is too huge. You've only had comprehension of the gold origin laws, and have even improved quite a bit. But that Rongjun, his ground origin law comprehension is not below yours, and his comprehension of the space laws are deep too. The absolute difference is too huge. It's not strange at all that you've lost. The little devil Babata said. Luo Feng nodded. For the simulation of an opponent in the slaughterhouse, one could set his experience and knowledge to be very high. Because that simulated Rongjun knew some of Luo Feng's moves, understanding himself and the enemy, making his victories even more clear-cut and simple. His defense is too strong. Ground origin laws emphasizes defense. Luo Feng exclaimed, and space origin laws, when fused with his domain, allows his control strength in the area to increase. His defense, even with my 3 golden blades, I still can't stop him. He was originally very confident. However, just this Rong Jun had stopped him. Right, Luo Feng, the Mosha clan clone should be coming out in just 3 days. The little demon said. Right. Luo Feng's expression revealed that of anticipation. The Mosha clan was known as the strongest assassination race in the universe. To be able to gain such a title amongst countless races, that was quite a feat. Just the damaged skin of a dead Mosha clan could be sold for such a heavenly price. This Mosha clan being must be incredibly powerful,